We're not in Kansas anymore.
We weren't in the first place.
No, right, but we're in that Wizard of Oz theme pub, and unless this is the VIP room, that's not it either.
So where are we then?
Hello, and welcome to the Amateur Science Enrichment Center.
Amateur science?
Yes. It is different to any copyrighted intellectual property you may have seen in popular video games or anything. I am Gladys, the sinister AI, who runs the lab. You will be delighted to hear you have been selected as test subject for our enrichment program. Begin delight sequence in 3, 2, 1. Woo. We will be testing your ability to answer questions on video games submitted by the Xbox Live community.
Oh, you monster!
If you complete every test question or testion successfully, you will be rewarded with a delicious steak-flavored protein bake. Please keep your arms and legs inside the Amateur Science weighted companion couch for the duration of the test.
This is the last time I take you up on an offer to inhale strange gas coming out of the studio air vent.
Ben, or Ben Monkey 69 as he's known on the wacky world of the internet, wants to know if there's any news on 2 Human 2, as he can't wait anymore.
We'll have to wait for a while at least, I'm afraid. 2 Human, if you missed it, and sales figures indicate that you may well have done, was an action RPG centering on a sci-fi retelling of Norse mythology that cast the gods of Asgard as cybernetically enhanced badasses, protecting the world from the onslaught of Loki's army of machines.
It was planned as a trilogy from the start, but the underwhelming performance of the first game has meant that so far the promised sequels have never arrived. Silicon Knights president Dennis Dyack recently told US site Industry Gamers that he has every intention of completing the trilogy, but that it won't be for a while due to litigation between his studio and Epic Games, as well as the fact that they're currently working on a different game entirely.
Yeah, Silicon Knights is currently working on X-Men Destiny, a licensed game about everyone's favourite gang of lovable misfits capable of levelling a city with their destructive powers, the X-Men. Silicon Knights looks to be bringing some of its trademark gameplay touches to Destiny, including fully customisable characters, upgradable skill trees, and a heavy emphasis on player choice, focusing on the tough decisions a mutant has to make.
What, like telling Wolverine that he smells like a dog shelter without him impaling you to a wall?
Yes, to use but one example. So don't hold your breath for 2 Human 2, Ben, but hopefully X-Men Destiny should tide you over for a while when it releases later this year.
Too easy. Next.
Next up, we have what I can only describe as a cry for help from Jacob Rodriguez, who says he must know about new add-ons for Fallout New Vegas in order to carry on living.
Oh, perhaps he's like a shark and he must be constantly filled with add-on news to keep living.
Well, either way, he's in luck, as Bethesda announced this week there will be 3 new add-on packs coming for their jolly post-apocalyptic funathon called Honest Hearts, Old World Blues and Lonesome Road.
First up, Honest Hearts is out on the 17th of May and sees you going caravanning in Utah.
Seriously?
That's what I've read anyway. It says that your caravan is ambushed by a tribal raiding band in Utah's Zion National Park.
Don't think it means the kind of caravan you're thinking of.
Yeah, but hold on to your chemical toilets, because as you try to find a way back to the Mojave wasteland, you become embroiled in a war between the tribes that's probably going to do some damage to your tow hitch stabilizers.
Not that kind of caravan. You will also encounter a conflict between a new Canaanite missionary and the legendary Burned Man mentioned in the main story of New Vegas, as Caesar's old second-in-command, who was set alight and thrown into the Grand Canyon, apparently surviving so he could go around being scary and having a very literal nickname later on.
Yeah, next to hit the Xbox Live Marketplace will be Old World Blues, coming this June.
In this add-on, you become a lab rat in an experiment gone awry. I can't imagine how that would be.
Please continue testing.
All right. You'll have to scour pre-war research centres looking for exciting and deadly technology to turn the tables on your kidnappers.
Or in the kind of moral decision that will have you literally questioning everything you stand for, you could just team up with your kidnappers against an even greater threat for a Stockholm Syndrome-tastic finale.
Finally, in July, there's Lonesome Road, which picks up the story hinted at in the first add-on Dead Money, that of the original Courier 6, a man named Ulysses who refused to deliver the platinum chip at the start of New Vegas.
Now, Lonesome Road begins with a transmission from Ulysses promising to tell you why he did this, but only if you take on one last job, which turns out to be totally straightforward and peril-free.
Does it?
No, you've seen through my intricate web of lies. It actually takes you into the hurricane-swept canyons of the Divide, a hellish landscape torn apart by earthquakes and violent storms, and full of dangers and treacherous enemies from which no one has ever returned.
Yeah, I thought that would probably be the case. So there we go, we've essentially saved Jacob's life there.
Yeah, we're the real heroes.
Your answer has been assigned satisfactory status. The next test question should be harder to crack than a vitrified test chamber.
It says here that Mr. Gloomby is his real name, thank you, and that he wishes to know when Bastion is coming to Xbox Live Arcade.
I thought you'd try to foil us by switching up to an obscure XBLA title, yeah? Well, the quick answer is there is no release date. Independent studio Supergiant Games had this to say on its blog. As soon as we have a specific announcement about a release date, we'll come right out and say it. The exact timing is not entirely up to us, since Microsoft works with publishers and developers to determine optimal release timing for its slate of XBLA titles. Shouldn't be too long.
That is correct. Next question.
Hey, hold your horses, GLaDOS.
You mean Gladys?
Whatever. We're not done yet. Bastion puts you in the role of the Kid, a young survivor of a literal world-shattering event known as the Calamity, who takes it upon himself to help rebuild society. With the planet reduced to floating islands, many of which are populated by hostile creatures and are prone to collapsing underfoot, the Kid's journey to locate vital supplies and fellow survivors promises to be a fraught one.
It also promises to be a pretty beautiful one too, thanks to its striking hand-painted visuals and traditional isometric viewpoint, which I hope Gladys is showing you right now.
Of course.
Good. Well, one particularly ambitious aspect of the game is its dynamic narration. Like Alan Wake, a narrator will relate the game story as it happens, although unlike Alan Wake, it's promised that the narrator will actually react to your individual actions too, which suggests that you may not experience the story in quite the same way as other players.
The good news is that Warner Bros. Recently acquired the rights to publish Bastion, and that it will be a console exclusive for the Xbox for the foreseeable future. If you want to gain a frank insight into the game's development, check out the excellent Building the Bastion series at giantbomb.com.
Crank Street actually asked this question 150 million years ago, but it was preserved in amber until this morning, when its DNA was extracted and then reconstituted using science.
Oh, science.
Yeah, thanks. As Crank Street says, Telltale Games' Jurassic Park will be coming to Xbox 360. The game's story takes place during and after the plot of the first Jurassic Park movie, and, according to Telltale, will resolve some of the loose ends from the film, such as what happened to Dennis Nedry's shaving cream can full of embryos.
That's been bugging me for years. Well, unlike most of Telltale's other games, Jurassic Park doesn't appear to be a point-and-click adventure. Rather, it's a third-person action-adventure game with decision-based gameplay, quick-time events, and even the possibility of death by being scoffed by raptors or spat at by those other, the other ones.
Yes. Telltale has described it as a tooth-and-nail fight for survival, with escape being your goal. Unlike previous Telltale games, Jurassic Park will release as a full retail game on a disc and everything, with a manual that you can touch and look at that exists.
It's not an XBLA game, basically.
Right, yeah.
Yep, so Jurassic Park is headed our way this autumn. Keep an eye on telltalegames.com for development diaries from the team, and we'll let you know more right here as soon as we get some fresh info.
Stop that. Okay. Fisty to facey sounds totally tough, like you might just go around straight punching dudes for no reason. So we'd better answer his question about current best game in the world ever, Portal 2. Well,
in answer to your question, Fisty, which we can only imagine was sent from an alley where you'd just beaten up a load of 80s movie punks while wearing a sleeveless denim jacket, the good news is that there will definitely be some Portal 2 add-ons coming your way this summer.
Yes, the first one will include new test chambers, leaderboards, a challenge mode for single and multiplayer modes, and best of all, it's apparently going to be free, meaning even the most vociferous Metacritic user can't possibly find anything to complain about.
I don't know about that. We've still got to buy food and drink between now and then in order to stay alive, don't we? So, typical Valve. As soon as I'm out of here, I'm going to have a Metacritic to give Portal 2 the 0 out of 10 it clearly deserves.
The release is just listed as summer at the moment, so expect more details closer to release.
Oh, I know. I'm going to write Valve, but with a yen sign instead of the V's and a euro for the E.
Yeah, you tell him, champ. Jake Ells feels the need for more leads about the new Need for Speed. Agreed?
Indeed. Well, EA has announced the next game in the long-running fasty-drivey franchise will be called Need for Speed The Run and will shift focus back to illegal street racing, universally acknowledged as the coolest type of street racing.
The run in question is a coast-to-coast race between San Francisco and New York. America being a fairly geographically diverse country, this should mean you'll be racing through loads of different environments, all the while being chased by the lousy killjoy police who clearly don't realise how cool it is to recklessly endanger the lives of yourself and everyone around you.
The squares. It's being developed by EA's Black Box Studio, previously responsible for the franchise for 6 years, producing the likes of Most Wanted, Carbon and Undercover. Autolog, which recently earned Hot Pursuit of British Academy Video Game Award for Best Online Game, will return, once again bringing healthy competition and simmering resentment to your friends list. Perhaps most interestingly of all, it's set to use the Frostbite 2.0 engine, currently being seen looking insanely impressive in Battlefield 3 teaser videos.
Admittedly, the trailer isn't a lot to go on, but it's looking like this will be the most story-driven and cinematic Need for Speed to date, and definitely one to keep an eye on for fans of traffic violations. Need for Speed The Run will launch in North America on 15th November, Europe on 17th November, and the UK on 18th of November. If we ever get out of here, we'll try to bring you more.
Right, final question. Lady SG wishes to know if there'll be any add-ons for Modern Warfare 3 and GTA 5.
Modern Warfare 3? There's no such... Hang on. Lady SG is an anagram of Diggles, and if you arrange the letters of that into a different order, it spells Gladys.
Which is my aunt's name.
Yeah, wait. No. It's the name of the sinister AI who imprisoned us here and is most likely trying to get us to answer a question that has no answer, so that we fail her diabolical test.
I see. And how exactly does my aunt factor into this devious scheme?
Well, that's that. I guess you win. They told me that was supposed to release neurotoxins. Oh well. Thank you for participating in this amateur science computer-aided enrichment activity. Please exit through the portal to your right. Alternatively, stay here.
Yeah, freedom!
And we can be best friends forever.
Back at last. Hey, what happened to that steak bake we were promised?
The steak bake is a fake. Delicious fake.
That'll never become a meme. I'm just grateful the whole ordeal's over. Imagine being stuck in a room answering questions for all eternity.
That concludes this week's test. Do not forget that your questions are the vital organs to the Amateur Science Self-Esteem Fund for Little Boys, only less valuable. Haha. That was a joke. Send them to the gamer tag SentUAMessage. Email SentUAMessage@hotmail.com. Use the Facebooks at facebook.com/SentUAMessage. Or ride the Twitter train @SentUAMessage. Or you could send them to me, now that Dan and Andy have left me alone. So alone.